Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the academic procession and the Chancellor.
I declare that the 603rd Convocation of McMaster University for the conferring of degrees is now in session.
Please be seated. Good afternoon. I'm Dr. Maureen MacDonald, Dean of Science. It is my privilege and pleasure on behalf of McMaster University to welcome all of you, graduands and guests, to this convocation ceremony. I would like to start by recognizing and acknowledging that we meet today on the traditional territories of the Mississauga and Haudenosaunee Nations and within the lands protected by the Dish with One Spoon Wampum Agreement. So welcome to your McMaster Faculty of Science Convocation Ceremony. You and your fellow graduates all came from diverse backgrounds. You entered into a variety of programs and certainly took many different courses. And I know that you all had unique experiences during your time at McMaster. Yet, there is one communal experience you all shared. And it wasn't deciding whether you had enough time to wait in line at Starbucks or Tim Hortons between classes, although I'm sure you did do that. Your shared experience was engaging with the scientific method. By now, you should be very familiar with this method. I'm going to take a moment and let you consult with those around you and come up with the 7 points, and we'll submit that for a quiz. No, I'll review it. First, you make an observation. You conduct research, form a hypothesis, test that hypothesis, record data, and draw a conclusion, and then replicate it. I'm going to let you in on a little secret. You have lived this scientific method from the time you applied to McMaster University to this very moment. And I hope that that scientific method continues to serve as your framework for what will be, I'm sure, a remarkable lifetime of learning, experimentation, and discovery. Here's how I think the scientific method played out during your time at McMaster. We made an observation that each of you was interested in pursuing science education and engaging in research. We did our research on you through the application process. We formed a hypothesis, and then we tested it and tested it. We gave you assignments, lab reports, and exams, and we recorded a lot of data on you. And today, we are drawing one very specific and irrefutable conclusion from this grand and wonderful experiment. Our conclusion is that you are scientists. You have learned how to conduct and evaluate science, and you now possess the education and have gained the experience to replicate that amazing and critically important experiment for the rest of your lives. Today, I was asked to share with you some of the many achievements from the past year in the Faculty of Science. Instead, I want to share just one. Our greatest scientific experiment and achievement is you. It was a tremendous privilege and honor to have you as students, and we cannot wait to see what's next and to celebrate all that you will achieve and contribute through your careers and lives. I do have one last assignment for you, however. As you well know, science is a team sport, and so too is life. By the end of the month, please make sure to take the time to thank the team who supported you during your time at McMaster. Thank the faculty, the graduate students, and the classmates who went above and beyond. Thank the family and friends who gave you unconditional support and encouragement. And I'd ask you to do it in person or pick up the phone. I don't think this is something you do over DM or through an Instagram post. You may disagree. I do look forward to congratulating each of you in person during your post-convocation reception. That reception for all graduates and their guests is being held next door in the Hamilton Convention Center. Along with enjoying refreshments, please step into one of the photo booths that we have around the room. Document this final amazing stage in your scientific experiment, because we might just ask you to submit one last lab report. So I also want to take this opportunity to acknowledge some of the notable leaders who are joining me on the stage today. We have our Chancellor, Dr. Suzanne Labarge, our President and Vice Chancellor, Dr. Patrick Dean, the President of Mohawk College, Mr. Ron McCurley, the Provost and Vice President Academic of McMaster and today's Master of Ceremonies, Dr. David Farrar, the Vice President Administration, Mr. Roger Couldry, Vice President Academic of Mohawk College, Mr. Paul Armstrong, the Dean of the School of Health of Mohawk College, Ms. Lori Koziol, our Associate Deans, Directors, Chairs, both McMaster and Mohawk faculty members, and honored guests. Before we start the formal program, I'll now ask everyone in the hall to switch off any electronic devices that might ring or beep during the ceremony. And now I'd like to call upon our Chancellor, Dr. Suzanne Labarge, to deliver her welcoming remarks.
Welcome, honored guests, family, friends, colleagues, and faculty from McMaster University and Mohawk College, and most importantly, graduands. This is an exciting day for all of you who are graduating today, as well as for all those people who have supported you and stood behind you, and in many cases have had a key role in you being here today. You've achieved a great deal to get here, and you should all be very proud of your success and looking forward to what the future might bring. Congratulations, and enjoy the ceremony.
My name is David Farrar, and I'm the Provost and Vice President Academic of the University, and this afternoon I have the great pleasure of acting as your Master of Ceremonies. I would now like to welcome Dr. Patrick Dean, President and Vice Chancellor, to the podium, who will be presenting the honorary degree recipient.
Madam Chancellor, by the authority of the Senate of McMaster University, I have the honor to present Michael Mann. Michael Mann is a distinguished professor of atmospheric science at Penn State University, with joint appointments in the Department of Geosciences and the Earth and Environmental Systems Institute. He is also director of the Penn State Earth System Science Center. Dr. Mann has established an international reputation for his scholarship in climate modeling, paleoclimate, hurricanes, tropical cyclones, time series tools, climate policy, and education. His most widely known work is the hockey stick graph, showing global temperatures over the past 8 centuries, and specifically the rise in temperatures in the industrial era. Dr. Mann has also become a steadfast advocate for public education and science related to climate change, even in the face of often aggressive opposition from climate change deniers. Dr. Mann earned undergraduate degrees in physics and applied mathematics from the University of California at Berkeley, and then a Master of Science degree in physics and a PhD in geology and geophysics, both from Yale University. His research involves the use of theoretical models and observational data to better understand Earth's climate system. He was a lead author on the Observed Climate Variability and Change chapter of the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, third scientific assessment report in 2001, and was the organizing committee chair for the National Academy of Sciences Frontiers of Science in 2003. He is the author of more than 200 peer-reviewed publications, along with books including The Hockey Stick and the Climate Wars, Dispatches from the Front Lines, and 2 co-authored books, Dire Predictions, Understanding Climate Change, and The Madhouse Effect, How Climate Change Denial is Threatening Our Planet, Destroying Our Politics, and Driving Us Crazy. Dr. Mann is also co-founder of the award-winning science website realclimate.org, which battles anti-climate change misinformation. Dr. Mann has received honors, including the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration's Outstanding Publication Award in Science and Technology, and the 2012 Hans Oeschger Medal of the European Geosciences Union. In 2013, he received the National Conservation Achievement Award for Science from the National Wildlife Federation. Dr. Mann was included on the Bloomberg News list of 50 most influential people in scientific information and earned the Friend of the Planet Award from the National Center for Science Education. He is a fellow of the American Geophysical Union, the American Meteorological Society, and the American Association for the Advancement of Science. Of course, he also, along with the other IPCC authors, contributed to the work that earned the 2007 Nobel Peace Prize. Madam Chancellor, I am pleased to present to you a champion of the scientific process and a leader in the fight against climate change. I ask that you recognize the work and career of Dr. Michael Mann by conferring upon him the degree Doctor of Science, honoris causa.
Michael Mann, by the authority of McMaster University Senate, I have the great pleasure to confer upon you the degree Doctor of Science honoris causa in McMaster University with all of the rights and privileges pertaining to that degree. Congratulations. We'll get to the sign over here, please. I would now like to invite Dr. Mann to deliver the convocation address.
Well, thank you very much. Madam Chancellor, President Dean, honored guests, graduands, family, and friends, it's an honor to address you here today. We're gathered here to celebrate the accomplishments of these young adults as they successfully complete one great challenge and prepare for others to come. So please join me in congratulating McMaster University's class of science graduates for 2019. Now, I may be a scientist, but I have a sense of humor. You have to in these times. And as a scientist studying climate change and seeking to educate the public and policymakers about it, I have a deep appreciation for the role of humor and satire when it comes to communicating hard truths. I co-authored a book, as you heard, with Washington Post editorial cartoonist and satirist Tom Towles, entitled The Madhouse Effect: How Climate Change Denial is Threatening Our Planet, Destroying Our Politics, and Driving Us Crazy. And that was prior to the last presidential election. After I was asked to give a speech at this convocation, I did a bit of research so that I could learn more about the history of McMaster University and its graduates. One thing I learned is that McMaster has given us some of the great comedians and comic actors of our time: Eugene Levy, Martin Short. And speaking of hard truths, when Martin Short was asked about the result of the last US presidential election, he dismissed it as a typo. He also went on to talk about Joseph McCarthy and McCarthyism. But I digress. Another illustrious graduate of McMaster is movie maker Ivan Reitman. Reitman produced and directed one of my very favorite films, Dave. If you've never seen it, it's about a person named Dave, just an ordinary guy who accidentally becomes president of the United States. Dave is a fundamentally decent, likable, generous individual driven by altruism and a desire to help other people. He brings people together, makes everyone around him a better person, rallies the American people to do better, be better. Yeah, it's fiction. It's fiction. Leave it to a Canadian to depict a utopian vision of American politics. But let me talk about some other McMaster graduates who may not be household names, but have nonetheless made contributions that are every bit as important. Scientists like Dan Milosavljevic, I hope I got that right. Dan graduated from the McMaster Arts and Science program. He is now a faculty member at Purdue University. He is known, among other things, for helping discover several of the moons of both Uranus and Neptune. Then there's Roberta Bondar, Canada's first female astronaut and the first neurologist in space. She spent a decade as the head of an international space medicine research team working with NASA and has received the prestigious NASA Space Medal. She was inducted into the Canadian Medical Hall of Fame and has over 28 honorary degrees. For comparison, I'm receiving my third today here at McMaster. And in my field of earth science, there is Paul Hoffman, formerly of Harvard, now at the University of Victoria. He's known for both establishing evidence of and providing an explanation for a remarkable period in Earth history known as Snowball Earth, 500 million years ago, when the Earth was covered with ice. Among other things, it showed that Earth's climate can be driven to extremes by external factors. In the past, those were natural. Today, it's us. Which leads us to my own path of scientific discovery. 2 decades ago, as you already heard, alluded to, my co-authors and I published the now iconic hockey stick curve. Very popular here in Canada, by the way. And it dramatically illustrates that the current warming spike is unprecedented as far back as we could go, 1,000 years at that time. Our continued burning of fossil fuels is the culprit. And so fossil fuel interests and front groups and politicians doing their bidding attacked it and me. And despite numerous independent confirmations of our findings by the U.S. National Academy of Sciences and dozens of other assessments, the effort to discredit this research and discredit me personally has continued. I was initially reluctant to be at the center of the fractious societal debate over climate change, but I have ultimately come to embrace that role. Thank you. I'm convinced that there is no more noble pursuit than seeking to ensure that policy is informed by an objective assessment of scientific evidence. That evidence now shows us that we face a stark choice between a future with a little more climate change that we will still have to adapt to and cope with, and one with catastrophic climate change that will threaten our civilization and our planet. So here we are at a crossroads. Let me be blunt. We are witnessing an unprecedented assault in the US under the current administration, and even here in Canada with bad actors looking to sabotage efforts to bring carbon emissions under control. Those of us who care about science and the role that science plays in our larger public discourse, and those who care about environmental stewardship and a sustainable planet must now make our voices heard. Become involved. There's so many ways to speak out and to influence the dialogue, so many ways we can engage constructively with governmental, civic, and corporate institutions in the realms of education, public policy, and industry. My good friend Bill Nye often ends his lectures with the exhortation, change the world. Well, let me go a step further. Let me ask each of you to change the world for the better. I am confident you will. Godspeed to you all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Mann. It's one of the privileges of being chancellor is you're involved in the granting of honorary degrees. I know that what we try to do is when an honorary degree recipient is nominated is to make sure there's somebody who can resonate with the students that are graduating that year. And certainly Dr. Mann meets all of that qualities. What we look for is people who would have stood where you'd stood at an early point in their career and have turned it into something where they've either made massive contributions to their profession or to their community. And Dr. Mann is certainly an example of somebody who's done both. What I hadn't realized is, given what he did, how much of a sense of humor you needed, because I certainly knew you needed perseverance, but he seems to have both. And what he says and the importance of it just, I think, resonates with all of us, and for that, I thank him very much, and I am delighted that he is now part of the McMaster community.
President Dean will now come forward to present the graduands to our Chancellor for admission to their degrees.
Will the graduands please stand? Madam Chancellor, on behalf of McMaster University Senate, I present to you these candidates and those in absentia in order that you may confer the appropriate degrees upon them, and I bear witness that they are worthy and suitable.
Graduands, by my authority and that of the McMaster University Senate, I have the great pleasure to admit those before me today and those in absentia to their individual degrees at McMaster University with all of the rights and privileges pertaining to those degrees. My sincere congratulations to you all. Please be seated.
Graduates, I will now ask each of you to join me on stage so that the Chancellor and I may welcome you to the McMaster community of scholars.
Ladies and gentlemen, so that each graduate's name may be heard, it would be appreciated if during the presentation of the graduands, you would hold your collective applause to the end of each degree category. Thank you. Madam Chancellor, may I present to you the following graduates of the degree Doctor of Philosophy. Alexander James Nielsen. John de Backer. Darrell Fong. Cristina Gonzalez Espinoza. Alex Hudson. Athindra Krishnaswamy Sethurajan. Tian Feng. Kai Liu. Mustafa Malo. Samantha Benincasa. Madam Chancellor, may I present to you the following graduates of the degree Master of Science. Yi Pan. Lucas Flett. Sameh Haboubi. Sarah Abu Ramadan. Mark Bachowski. Michael Cox. Ryan Das. Lillian Elsa Durwald Munoz. Jesse Ma. Joelle Veronique Lamarche. Madam Chancellor, may I present to you the following graduates of the degree Bachelor of Science Honours. Danny Abu Jamra. David Abraham. Abhishek Vasant Achuner. Evelyn Timilola Alake Ajaya. Farah Al-Faraj. Noor Al-Alawi. Arya Alexandra Alizadeh. Catherine Mannion Allen. Mahra Daoud Alas. Lina Al-Shenaiba. Stephanie Amato. Tiffany Anandran. Matthew Anderson. Riley Joseph James Ashton. Ryan Chun Hin Ao. Sarah Rebecca Aubert. Jerry Augustine. Samantha Ong. Kaylin Genevieve Bakiochi. Sung In Bak. Brittany Efua Baden. Susan Elizabeth Ballint. Hongwei Bao. Kurt Barbato. Pascal Bieder. Andrea Brenda Binder. Noshin Faria Tasnim Biswas. Jacob Thomas Bloomfield. Julia Rose Bagorgi. Elisa Jane Yvonne Boisvert. Nicole Jessica Boivin. Nicole Colette Booker. Lauren Ann Boria. Jennifer May Boughton. Megan Nicole Boyd. Tamara Bozichkovich. Arashdeep Singh Brar. Alexander John Brown. Victoria Ann Brown. Patrick Benjamin Brunato. Daniel Bubnich. Andrew Ross Buchanan. Juan Buitrago. Erin Catherine Burns. Evan Burns. Elora Byrne. Charmaine Calossa. Justin Alexander Campbell. Rachel Campbell. Kitty Chow. Victoria Alexandria Nicole Caruso. Sarah Angelica Celeste. Martin Y. Lok Chan. Sean Chandy. Pavishan Chandra Kumar. Nishi Harshad Chowdhury. Mohammed Chima. Susanna Xiao Yun Chen. Ting Wei Chen. Wenlong Chen. April Cheng. Timothy Chung. Kate Sharon Chason. Trisha Ann Chinnery. Rishi Charan Chinta. Pema Chodan. Jamyang Kutso. Jeanette Fu Ru Choi. Yeon Su Choi. Sabrina Megan Chu. Soma Li Ting Chow. Jasmine Chu. Monica Mia Chu. Alan Chung. Uniba Chutani. Jacob Andrew Kansi. Catherine Margaret Clark. Bianca Maria Colarossi. Victoria Elizabeth Coles. Brewster Amory Conant. Jared Coppins. Matthew Patrick Coyne. Megan Crawwell. Louisa Tsani. Caitlin Taylor da Silva. Mark Davids. Nurafsan Dovulku. Abhijit Day. Ashley Dhaliwal. Jasmine Kaur Dillon. Alexi Elizabeth Doan. Andrew Duquette. Franklin Duru. Benjamin Marlon Dyer. Chad Edwards. Shayan Asan. Asiana Entisara Elma. Olivia Leshan Topil Eppelbaum. Carlos Laksamana Eugenio. Ashley Doreen Eugene. Rachel Folds. Sean Fernando Faustino. Hilary Elizabeth Ferguson. Nicholas Fernandez. Jonathan Benjamin Fleming. Acacia Frempong Manso. Sunpreet Garcha. Victoria Garcia. Lulu Garu. Abhinaya Galapati. Julia Joan Gavert. Nega Gassemi. Hafi Saula Gawaru. Prabno Singh Guman. Amy Jade Gilbert. Diljit Gill. Inderpreet Gill. Krushi Dharmavir Gohil. Alana Sophia Lynn Goldnau Vocht. Mary Goodwin. Anukriti Goswami. Catherine Jean Graham. Leo Greenblatt. Ashdeep Singh Grewal. Simran Grewal. Sirna Rupali Gudagunti. Mathusan Gunabala Singham. Sapina Gunaraja. Zachary Habib. Milena Hadsi Tosef. Jonathan Pokai Hakfoot. Ali Hamadeh. Omar Hamdan. Mayela Hamid. Erin Haney. Dean Edward Hansen. Caitlin Lauren Hayashi. Mariam Hyman Haber. Alexandra Heeringer. Hubert Ho. Yu Heng Hao. Noah Haupt. Cameron Baxter Howes. Jade Jian Hokshi. Jai Hu. Horace Huang. Jia Jung Huang. Jingwen Huang. Michael Mun Fun Huang. Rebecca Katie Hum. Ashmeet Hunjan. Mackenzie Jane Hurst. Regan Pei Yu Hun. Beatrice Ibrahim. Nadine Ibrahim. Anitha Ithaya Lingam. Salina Amanda Jackson. Muhammad Shahir Jar. Alisa Janes. Julie Erin Jenkins. Erica Jung. Hao Tian Jiang. Tingjiao Jiang. Xiaojie Jiang. Graham Harrison James Johnstone. Julie Johnstone. Serena Amy Jones. Damien Joseph. Sharon Annie Joseph. Sarah Jun. Ka Yoon Jung. Sachin Kakar. Mohammed Sabir Kamran. Somya Kathikeyan. Mira Karunakaran. Mackenzie Alexander Carey. Alexander Kersner. Basma Riyad Khalil. Adil Ryan Khan. Jaskan Singh Kangura. Ji Hyun Kim. Lee Hun Kim. Noel Soo Jung Kim. Sam Kim. Renee Taylor King. Michael Anthony Klovac. Olivia Jocelyn Kohlmeyer. Helena Marie Conyard. Zachary Cruzen. Joanna Ivona Krinska. Surya Asib Kumar. Arthi Kunasingam. Amanda Kuravila. Lindsay Labrache. Winfield Lai. Temitayo Simisola Lalea. Nicole Sarah Lillian Lasitsa. Lukasz Laskowski. Victor Lazdins. Ellen Seung R. Lee. Taylor Lee. Michel Lefebvre. Melanie Guy Ting Leung. Tiffany Leung. Alice Yingwen Lee. Lei Lee. Yongxi Lee. Yuan Hao Lee. Mingyi Liao. Yu Jia Lin. Jia Lin. Eileen Liao. Ningyi Liu. Elsie Lukanchenko. Guan Huao Li. Chris John Liguras. Brady James MacDonald. Zoe Elizabeth McIntosh. Sabrina Alicia McCly. Connor McLean. Anaida Mama. Navjot Kaur Man. Simran Lakbir Man. Fatih Isa Mansour. Catherine Manta. Yanju Mao. Maria Maksoud. Philip Markovich. Alexei Mashintsov. Julia Rose Mason. Cassandra Lynn Mascheline. Kesha Megna Massi. Saad Masood. Christopher Louis McChesney. Casey McFadgen. Niharika Reddy Medak. Xiao Yu Mei. Ariana Meya. Natalie Elaine Mercanti. Natalie Mesa. Hope Marina Louise Mikkel. Katerina Mioch. Nikita Mistry. Gabrielle Abigail Mitchell. Alan Moe. Austin Molas. Mohammed Mohammed. John Joseph Monteith. Lillian Morgan. Sandra Ida Morley. Laura Maria Morrison. Sarah Morris. Narmin Mortagi. Shreya Motkur. Ayman Mohammed. Asma Mohammed. Ryan Maud Mukhlisar Rahman. Faiz Mumtaz. Pratik Murali. Sidra Naim. Aruchan Nanthakuma. Matthew Stephen Napier. Alexandra Navali. Tiffany Pugh Kai Ng. Andrew Nguyen. Brianna Wynn. Michael Wynn. Christy Tao Gia Nguyen Tran. Christopher John Camilo Nizelski. Bryce John Norman. Angel Marie O'Connor. Chukweabuko John Osuji. Catherine Ozimek. Sydney Parr. Nicole Taylor Pacheco. Harleen Kaur Padwal. Ajit Singh Panesar. Pritpal Singh Panesar. Pawanpreet Panu. Deepesh Patel. Sarah Pavich. Andy Peng. Veronica Perez. Gerald Jacob File. Leanne Lee Farrow. Holly Philbrick. Avinash Pillai. Andrea Calvini Ponaya. Michelle Poon. Samantha Valerie Poon. Davneet Punya. Udari Rachuni Premar Charanda. Alexandra Marie Patman. Zhongyao Jian. Henry Tat Quach. Jessica Nicole Quino Tejada. Ushna Wasaf Rab. Mohammed Rahal. Anand Singh Rai. Adam Rajani. Ashwarya Ramesh. Ramandeep Randwaya. Anisha Rao. Rochelle Rasathurai. Sabrina Rashid. Mohammed Raza. Tyler Christian Redublo. Alexander Regic. Michelle Jesus Rego. Lian Kai Ren. Gabrielle Reta. Christina A. Ritchie. Noah Risk. Raja Hashim Rizwan. Avnish Sachdev. Amna Saigal. Harneet Kaur Sambi. Alim Aziz Sammani. Jessica Philippa Raphael Sampaio. Ethan Sampson. Gorinda Singh Sandhu. Gurzina Sandhu. Sahana Safakaran. Jacob David Saunders. Luvjit Sehon. Kasturi Selvaraja. Cameron Pat Setare Nayajad. Alison Kag Yan Seto. Naji Shabir. Anika Lena Shah. Ifla Shahid. Osama Shahid. Sharon Sarah Shaji. Viraj Sharma. Isabel Brianna Sharp. Afraya Shirin. Robert John Shorter. Amal Siddiqui. Navjot Kaur Sidhu. Rajbir Singh Sidhu. Amit Singh. Balraj Singh. Britannia Grace Sitland. Ashwini Shivakumar. Jennifer Ann Smith. Ksenia Cecilia Smith. Lloyd Bailey Smith. Mengshi Song. Pooja Sri Rangan. Nikithana Sri Kant. Saibrinathan Sri Kandan. Mackenzie Stacey. Martin Stefan Stelmach. Nikita Stoimenov. Jason Subaskaran. Royu Sun. Tina Oma Surujdin. Megan Swing. Saher Saeed. Bartosz Siroka. Daniel Shamis. Monica Takahashi. Barkai Talat. Audrey Gar Tam. Jishin Chan. Miran Tariq. Spencer Owen Taylor. Shianda Thambiraja. Shamashtika Thilagaratnam. Mehak Preet Kaur Thind. Rajveer Singh Thind. Maleka Thompson. Nagashri Thorvinakare. Jacqueline Tran. Leanne Tran. Biranavan Utha Yakumar. Cassis Jade Valo. Vandana Vicky Verma. Bravina Vignaraja. Kajan Vijaya Gopal. Makisha Vijikaran. Claudia Nicole Visca. Ian Llewellyn Vishnu. Elias Giulio Vitali. Gianni Vital. Aaron Wang. Jin Yang Wang. Jin Zhao Wang. Ming Xiao Wang. Rita Wasim. Sarah Marie Weir. Shira Hannah Weiss. Linda Z. Lin Weng. Jamie Jia Chi Wu. Jun Yu Wu. Yahan Wu. Gabriella Faith Wynn. Perry Matthew Vislobitsky. Peishan Shin. Joshua Yashu. Gaushihan Yasotharan. Yu Yang Ye. Nicole Lian Hua Ye. Amir Hossein Yegane Salman. Jason Ka Wing Yung. Jonas Chi Fung Yueng. Erica Jung. Zainab Zafar. Logan Zettel. Shi Xue Zhang. Wei Jie Wendy Zhang. Fei Yan Zhao. Yi Yi Zheng. Yan Hua Zhu. Madam Chancellor, may I present to you the following graduates of the degree Bachelor of Science. Albert Aaron John Alacon. Harsh Bansal. David Dacunia. Raquel Debrasensky. Simi Danota. Dylan Ewing Doherty. Maxim Duvalko. Tatiana Sage Triple Eppelbaum. Cameron Allen Ferguson. Alexander Thomas Ferracuti. Krista Marie Grunwald. Danielle Harris. Hannah Hart. Ayesha Irfan. Gagangeet Kaur. Jung Hyo Lee. Minghao Lee. Wei Li. Jabril Malikov. Sean David McMillan. Megan Meliton. Christopher Samuel Moffat. Christianel Ordinado. Robert Osamo Diaman Rawson. Ahmed Alaeddin Shuib. Roman Singh. Shamita Shivakumar. Are we wrong? Is that wrong? Mihwash Jabin Tariq. Cheng Yuan Yang. My apologies. Bohi Jackie Zhao. Madam Chancellor, may I present to you the following graduates of the degree Bachelor of Medical Radiation Sciences. Eman Abbas. Jessica Francis Agro. Alana Arnaud. Alessandra Asaf Costabile. Seung Yung Baik. Hannah Klasje Balfoot. Laura Battaglia. Madison Marlene Berg. Shannon Christina Bezemer. Kelsey Paige Bish. Laura Danielle Blackburn. Carol Boschra. Maria Annette Rasse Bronze. Rachel Lily Eva Carle. Gabriela Bianca Castile. Sarah Danielle Shampoo. Yan Ying Chiu. Janice Chu. Kimberly Kelly DePina. Audrey Christine DeWeerd. Andrea Marie DeHoo. Brittany Day. May Duan. Gillian Nicole Dong. Liana Dumas. Kaylee Emmeline Dick. Sandra Ecladios. Melissa Stephanie Elgersmar. Laurel Ruth Fleming. Bianca Shu Man Fu. Brianna Kira Gracie. Kayla Christine Grimbley. Alana Jane Harding. Amy Catherine Orlick Hawkins. Jin Ru Huang. Hafsa Altaf Hussein. Nirsha Kanapathilai. Jin Ha Kim. Gillian Jane Klassen. Jessica Kuna. Andrea Joanne Koopman. Gina Lai. Heather Elizabeth LaRocque. Joanna Hugh Tung Lau. Kate Lynn Diana Lavallée. Jai Wook Daniel Lee. Jamie Lee. Youngin Lee. Maria Malik. Ivana Maric. Katie Martin. Michelle Elizabeth Martin. Hayley Christine Maynard. Clarion Nanyong. Kirsten Neuterboom. Marisa Po Yue Ng. Matthew Ng. Anna Teresa Elizabeth Wynne. Ashitabin Patel. Jinal Patel. Danielle Porter. Sophia Lillian Provençal. Nicole Radu. Jessica Lynn Ropp. Alicia Victoria Ruggiero. Sunaina Sadat. Kendra Allison Savatsky. Crystal Shen. So Yun Shim. Emily Laura Sisson. Michelle Chuk Yi Tang. Christine Toralba. Andrea Leanne Vantertorn. Mallory Dawn White. Jennifer Weeb. Alan Wong. Michael Robert Woodford.
Let's give one more round of applause to all of our graduates. I would now like to introduce you to Negashree Thoven Kere. A graduate of the degree Bachelor of Science Honors in Life Science with a specialization in sensory motor systems, who will be delivering the valedictory address.
Chancellor Labarge, President Dean, President McCurley, Dean MacDonald, Provost Farrar, esteemed faculty and alumni, honored guests, friends, family, and above all, my fellow graduates. Good afternoon. My name is Nagashri Thovinkere, and I'm honored to be representing the graduating class of 2019. While I was writing this speech, I told myself that I would avoid all the classic cliches, like, this is not the end, but only the beginning, or life is like a mountain, full of ups and downs. So, here it goes. Life is like a mountain, full of ups and downs. However, I didn't expect this to quite literally mean that I would start my McMaster life trying to understand what people meant when they said they lived just up the mountain. But of course, I knew this couldn't be the end. It was only the beginning. And so I turned to my fellow geology friends who reminded me that it was an escarpment, not a mountain. Since then, my McMaster life has been an escarpment full of ups and downs. Our journeys began when we left our homes and were greeted by a sea of highly enthusiastic people cheering us on in their colorful rep suits. Or perhaps it began when we got on our first go bus and fell in love with the scenic beauty on the road. Classes were in full swing. We met many beautiful faces, made new friends, and spent our downtime frantically trying to figure out the best way to study. It's osmosis, by the way. But there were also a few bumps along the way. Maybe it was not getting the grade we hoped for, chemistry, or getting rejected from our favorite student leadership position, or not getting the research position we always wanted. The road was not always clear. We made mistakes and lost our ways at times. But we learned to embrace these experiences. Maybe we embraced danger by submitting an assignment at 11:58 p.m. Or we perfected the art of setting alarms for an 8:30 class. Let me illustrate. You start by setting it for 7, then 7:15, then 7:30, 8, 8:10, and then panic. But in all seriousness, though, these bumps along the way prompted us to begin a transformative experience. It led us to find opportunities that helped us discover our true passions, our likes, dislikes, and more importantly, the voice. No, not the singing show, but our voices that define our values and help us understand how we can contribute to this society. But we couldn't have done this on our own. We got here through the help of friends. No, not the sitcom, but our peers, our mentors, professors, and family. It is through these relations that we learn to accept people for who they are. We learn to capitalize on these differences and work towards a collective goal. These experiences let us embark on a tremendous journey of pursuit of happiness. Yes, just like the movie. Whether your passion was research, athletics, or arts, you have all made an impact in this community through your resilience and perseverance, and you must all be very proud of that. We have made some amazing friendships along the way, been inspired by some of the greatest minds, and mentored by some of the finest leaders. The McMaster community has provided us with a strong foundation, sculpted us into resilient and innovative thinkers who are ready to take on the challenges that lie ahead of us and make this world a better place. We have grown as a whole, both academically and personally, faced many challenges, and learned many things. We have transcended the conditions that have tested us throughout this journey. It is now time for us to begin the next adventure of our lives. I wish nothing but the best for each and every one of you, because the best is yet to come. Thank you.
Thank you, Nagashri. I now call upon the Dean of Science, Dr. Maureen McDonald, who will present the Governor General's Academic Medal and the Burke Memorial Ring.
The Governor General's Academic Medal is one of the most prestigious awards a student in Canada can receive. Established in 1873, this honor recognizes an exceptional academic achievement at the high school, collegiate, undergraduate, and graduate levels. Each year, McMaster awards just 2 Governor General's Silver Medals to the students at the university who have achieved the highest academic standing at the undergraduate level. Earning this accolade not only places this year's recipient among the top students to graduate from McMaster, it places them among the top students in all of Canada. On behalf of Her Excellency, the Right Honourable Julie Payette, it gives me great pride to present the Governor General's Academic Silver Medal to Chris Lurgis. Madam Chancellor, I ask you and all those present, please join with me to express recognition of his achievement. Ladies and gentlemen, I would now like to present the Burke Memorial Ring for outstanding academic achievements and contributions to undergraduate activities in a Bachelor of Science program. I am pleased to announce that Alexander Kerners is the winner of this award.
Congratulations, Chris and Alexander. May I now call upon Con B, a graduate of the Bachelor of Science Kinesiology Honors Class of 2012 and a representative of the McMaster Alumni Association. Con will now deliver the Alumni Association address.
Chancellor Labarge, President Dean, President McCurley, award winners, honorees, Mohawk and McMaster faculty, fellow alumni, guests, and especially members of the class of 2019. I'll keep this as short as possible to maximize your time to get to your Game 6 Raptors plans. My name is Con B, and I'm a graduate of the McMaster Kinesiology class of 2012. While it's been 7 years since I probably sat where you are sitting right there, I've had the privilege to stay connected with the McMaster Alumni Association throughout those years. You may ask, what does it mean to be part of an alumni network, to be an alumni? As cheesy as it may sound, being part of that network means that you're part of a family. Because you don't get to choose who is in that family, just like you couldn't choose, though I'm sure you appreciate and love the people that are sitting up above you. You couldn't choose your first-year roommate, an algorithm did. But you may have chosen to share near illegal student housing with them in second year, and they're your family. You couldn't choose the people that decided to take the same major at the same university, at the same college, during the same year as you. But they're likely the people you're most excited, yet most saddened to celebrate with today, and they're your family. And you definitely couldn't choose the thousands of others who are graduating alongside you this week, let alone the hundreds of thousands of graduates that came before you in the last 132 years. Yet they're all your family now. Quickly, my alumni family consists of a slew of brothers and sisters, let's call them, that I still see to this day. Some who I lived with when I went to grad school in Ottawa, some who I play beer league basketball with every Tuesday, some who have helped me slide into the LinkedIn DMs of people who've helped me get my job today, some whose wedding I'll be emceeing next weekend. And while I don't consider him brotherly, my partner of 6 years, who I met while studying at Mac, is very much a part of my alumni family. Like I said, some alumni family you already know of. Those are the types of people that you're probably texting in between speeches to meet up for pictures later. But there are some incredible alumni family members that you have yet to meet. And the Alumni Association, in so many ways, can help you introduce them. You can read about McMaster, fellow McMaster alumni, and classmates in Mac, the news magazine for alumni, either in print or digitally, or through our monthly e-newsletter, Maroon Mail. In Touch magazine from Mohawk will keep you up to date with everything about the college. Check out the Mac alumni site on Medium and read about fellow grads' real lives after Mac. Learn from the career newsletter Insights and join the Mac and Mohawk alumni communities on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, and Twitter. You are also now members of Mac 10, with programming specifically geared to the needs of graduates within the first 10 years of graduation, including your very own alumni career counselor. Whether you're looking for assistance, getting that first job, or as you navigate next steps in your career, the Mohawk and McMaster Alumni Associations have a number of resources, events, and programs to help. And you may think 10 years is a long time, but for someone who only has 3 years left, it's not. They go by very fast. Your association offers you things you probably didn't realize, like great deals on adult things like home and car insurance, health and dental coverage plans. If none of my outright shameless plugs to the Alumni Association's benefits don't stick with you, it's fine, I won't take it personally. Just remember this: keep your email up to date in your alumni profile on the alumni website, and the Mac and Mohawk Alumni Associations will know how to find you wherever you end up. And when you're ready to connect, they'll be there waiting, alongside all of those thousands of family members you have yet to meet. I will end by saying I am so damn proud wherever I go to say that I went to McMaster. As an alumni yourself now, wear that fact with pride, because amazing things like dream jobs, best friends, new home cities, and more can happen when you let the world know you went to Mohawk College or McMaster University in Hamilton, Ontario. So thank you for your time today. Congratulations on your convocation. Welcome to the Alumni Association, and know that I'm sincerely proud to call you my new family. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Con. May I now invite Dr. Dean back to the podium to deliver his President's Address.
Madam Chancellor, Dr. Mann, distinguished colleagues, graduates, friends, and family. Like many of the rituals by which we order our lives, convocation is a combination of the private and the public. Today, graduates, we're celebrating your individual achievements, as well as our collective renewal through those achievements and through the futures you will all go on to make. Convocation is also a form of therapy in that it is intended to give acknowledgement, focus, and expression to our awareness of change, of the life transitions which all of you are experiencing right now, and of the broader shifts in our society and our culture in which we are all implicated. One phase of life is ending for you, and another is beginning. Perhaps still within McMaster if you're planning further study, or as is likely the case for most of you, beyond our university. While I said convocation helps to give focus to our awareness of change, that is not to say that it necessarily simplifies moments like this. After all, while the end of one phase can be a relief, it can also occasion a sense of loss or even grief. And while we may approach the beginning of the next phase with excitement, that will also likely come with an admixture of nervousness and sometimes even fear. The combination of emotions on a day like this will be different for all of us. Now, I am an English professor going through changes of my own. As you may know, I leave McMaster University at the end of this convocation season. So perhaps you will indulge me in a brief poetic moment. I want to read you some lines from a poem by T.S. Eliot called Little Gidding. It is the last of his 4 quartets, published during the Second World War in September 1942. It is a riff, although Eliot would probably never have called it that, on a saying which Mary, Queen of Scots, embroidered on what's called her cloth of estate, her royal embroideries, while she was imprisoned in England prior to her execution. This is what she embroidered. En ma fin, gît mon commencement. In my end is my beginning. Nearly 400 years later, also in London, England, and with the massive destruction of successive German bombing raids all around him, T.S. Eliot amplified Queen Mary's motto in this way. What we call the beginning is often the end, and to make an end is to make a beginning. The end is where we start from. These, I think, are helpful words on an occasion like this. While it is tempting at times of change to mourn the loss of something past or coming to an end, it is important to keep your focus on the future, however unknown or however unknowable that may be. For Mary, Queen of Scots, imprisoned and under threat of execution, the future was imagined as a Christian afterlife. For T.S. Eliot, the poet, thinking about Nicholas Ferrar's 17th century religious community at Little Gidding in the context of wartime Britain, it was that and more. It was a social and a cultural resurgence animated by belief and unified by transcendent values. To make an end is to make a beginning. That is our theme for today, and we should all embrace it. However differently we see ourselves starting out, and however contrasting are our hopes and ambitions for the future. Acceptance of change, along with the constant process of renewal that it implies, is fundamental to success, whether for individuals like you and me, or for institutions like McMaster, in which we have jointly found a place over these last several years. Change drives us forward to challenge ourselves and to scale even greater heights. It's not as if we have much choice in the matter. The Greek philosopher Heraclitus is reputed to have observed that change is the only constant in life. But we do have a choice about how we respond to that change, whether we will treat ends as beginnings or merely as ends. And no less a thinker than Confucius has pointed out the link between an acceptance of change and the potential for personal growth. He is reputed to have said that they must often change who would be constant in happiness or wisdom. That last point is an important one for all of us as a university family. Despite the fact that universities have been around for over 900 years and are seen as one of the most stable human institutions in the West, they have not been immune to change. Indeed, all the teaching, the learning, the research, and discovery that happens in a place like McMaster is premised on the restless and relentless pursuit of truth. To be successful, the university must always be changing, developing, and creating new beginnings of one kind or another. In the 9 years I've been at McMaster, I have been witness to constant and far-reaching change. The most obvious example has been alterations to the physical fabric of the place, the demolition of Wentworth House and the construction of L.R. Wilson Hall, the expansion of studio art and engineering experiential education facilities, groundbreaking for the Peter George Center for Living and Learning, opening of the David Braley Health Sciences Center downtown, and construction of the outdoor Indigenous meeting circle, to name only a few. Now, mention of the Gerald Hatch Center points to a major shift in pedagogy that has occurred during the last decade, moving emphasis towards experiential, technology-enabled, self-directed, and community-engaged ways of learning. And the university has transitioned overall into a more vital engagement with its local and global communities in recognition of our mission to advance human and societal health and well-being. So substantive has been that shift that our university was recently ranked second in the world for our contribution to the Sustainable Development Goals of the United Nations. Listing off these changes gives me pause to reflect on the speed with which time passes. I wonder whether you feel as I do, as if it was only yesterday that you arrived at McMaster. But think about this. What we're celebrating today is, for most of you, the successful completion of a project to which you have devoted approximately 20% of your lives so far. The 9 years I have spent here count for the same percentage of my adult life. It has been time very well spent, I hope you will agree. But it has been spent nevertheless. And the task today is to ponder the time ahead of you and to consider the thoughtful and, I hope, joyful ways in which you might use it, making use, I hope, of all the skills and experience you've worked so hard to acquire during your time at McMaster. It is interesting that we talk about our relation to time using the same language we use for commerce. We spend time. Sometimes we invest it. And sometimes the investment of time, we say, pays off. There is a witty rejoinder to this in one of the very first self-help guides ever written. It's a book called How to Live on 24 Hours a Day by the English author Arnold Bennett. It was published in 1910. He gives a lot of advice for how to live life to the full. Bennett notes that time is indeed a commodity, but a commodity of a very special sort. The supply of time, he says, is truly a daily miracle. You wake up in the morning, and lo, your purse is magically filled with 24 hours of the unmanufactured tissue of the universe of your life. And it is unstealable, and no one receives either more or less than the 24 hours you receive. Perhaps the best thing about time, he notes further, is that you don't have access to time credit. He says, you cannot draw on the future. It is impossible to get into debt. You can only waste the passing moment. You cannot waste tomorrow. It is kept for you. Tomorrow is kept for you. My hope is that you can all make a success of tomorrow and of the new beginning and the new life that you're about to embark on. While this ceremony represents an ending for you and for me, it is also an ending for our esteemed Chancellor, Dr. Suzanne Labarge. Dr. Labarge has served McMaster with great distinction for the last 6 years as our 18th Chancellor and has presided at all of our convocation ceremonies during that time, as well as acting as our most prominent university volunteer. These spring convocations are the last ceremonies that Chancellor Labarge will preside at, and I didn't want to end without recognizing in each ceremony her service and extending our thanks for all that she has done. So there are many of us saying goodbye. Valediction is always difficult, but I remind you, to make an end is to make a beginning. The end is where we start from. My very best wishes to you all.
Thank you very much, President Dean, and congratulations to the class of 2019. As one of those 200,000 McMaster alumni, I'm looking forward to seeing where you end up. And may I say, I look forward with confidence because a couple of reasons. One, you're graduating from McMaster, and you've gotten one of the best educations in Canada and you can put it to use very well. Secondly, as science graduates, I heard your dean talking about the scientific method. As I listened to it, I thought, well, wait a second. Those are skills that are transportable anywhere. It's not just for science. Any career that I know of would require that. The way you live can require it. So you've got a set of skills that has been sort of built into you over the last few years that are absolutely essential for where you go from now. And I guess finally, as President Dean says, I've been doing this now for 6 years. Well, at that point, I've seen something like 70 convocations. I've seen all the students go across the stage. And though I haven't met you, I've met your award winners, your valedictorians, the prize winners. And I can tell you, if this is what McMaster produces, we're in good hands. And so as I look forward to your future, I look with envy. Now, I got to say, I really don't want to start over again, but I do remember what it was like looking out there and saying, where am I going from here and where am I going to end up? And you know it's not going to be a straight line. It's not only the ups and downs your valedictorian talked about. There are times you go around in circles. But one of the things I heard early in my career, which I always remember, is success is 90% hard work and 10% luck. And all of you know some people who are luckier than others, but we all have some luck. And it's how you use that luck that really determines where you end up. I vividly remember as a young person, not knowing really what I was doing at all, of spending a weekend with friends of my family. And the gentleman at the end of the weekend said to me, he says, I think you'd really like business more than you'd like academia. And so here I am. But it's learning to say, okay, when do I take that risk? When do I move out of my margin of comfort? This is a group that I don't think is going to have any trouble with that, but it's something to remember. So while I wish you congratulations and all the best wishes, I also wish you best of luck. Now, as President Dean has said, he's leaving as well as me. And during my time with President Dean and during his tenure here, I've watched the effort he's put into trying to improve the student experience. And he's done an awful lot. The students have very much been the focus of what this university is. And he's done an enormous amount to contribute to that. So on your behalf, as well as on the part of everybody else, I'd like to thank him very much. Now, I've just got a couple of announcements because I know you want to get to the reception and to the Raptor game, so. All right, first of all, the reception, as the Dean said, is to be held in the Hamilton Convention Center, Wentworth Room B and C, immediately following the ceremony. Finally, I would ask that you please remain standing at your seats until the academic procession and the graduates have left the hall. Please join now in the singing of our national anthem. After the singing of the anthem, this convocation stands adjourned.